All right, everybody, welcome. Paradox of Sports, episode 19. Jack, what's going on?
Nothing really. My birthday is in 2 days.
That's right. We're getting close. It's birthday week. Any big plans? Any big plans that you know of for the birthday? So what are we? We're taping Wednesdays. Oh, you have a Friday birthday?
Or it's gonna, yeah.
You're gonna be 11, right?
Yeah.
That's Friday birthdays won't mean that much until you're a little older, but enjoy them while you can because the Friday birthdays are awesome because you can have fun and it gives you 2 days to recover. So
Yeah.
I interrupted you there though. What do you got going?
So it's gonna be like I'm bringing like 5 of my friends to like an outdoor sleepover thing. It's gonna be the Friday night and Saturday morning.
So this is at your house?
Yes.
Oh man, your poor parents. So it's just going to be a party.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do outside? Are you guys tenting it or what's the plan there?
Yeah, we've got like this 8-person tent, although it's gonna be only 6 of us since 2 weren't able to come.
Okay.
And we also got a fire pit recently, so we're gonna use that.
So you're going to have an outdoor camping party is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now that's something we do a lot of. I take the girls, Jen and I take the girls, we go out to the lake with the camper. The girls, they actually sleep in a tent. So some advice I can give you, if there is a way that you can set that tent up where in the morning it'll be in the shade a little bit, you will appreciate it because it gets hot as balls. As soon as the sun comes up and starts hitting on that tent, it gets hot and it will run you out of it early. That's just a word of advice. If you can find a way that you can get that thing set up and be in the shade a little bit, you'll thank me.
Other than this one tree, we have like no shade at all.
I know
unless we go beneath my patio.
Which, yeah, you probably don't want to do that either. You don't want to be that close to the house because you'll be out on the grass.
Yeah.
Because I saw the videos last night. You guys playing ball out there. You got a nice, you have a very nice looking sod out there to play on.
Mhm.
Nice. Well.
And then for breakfast, the next morning, we're having breakfast burritos.
Nice. So you're going to have an all-around good time. That actually, for our camping trips, is also kind of our go-to. I guarantee you ours are not on par with the breakfast burritos your mom is going to make. Ours it's pretty poorly thrown together, just sausage, egg, and stuff. So that's exciting. You're going to get to do a little camping right there at the house. That's fun. We're going to work next year on getting you guys up here next summer, get you behind the boat and do some wake surfing and camp at the lake and have some fun. So the birthday party then will be Friday night.
Yes, Friday night, Saturday morning.
And then is there anything you have planned like Saturday afternoon with family, grandparents coming up or any of that stuff?
Nope. Already the grandparents were here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So they already came and did your thing.
They left yesterday morning.
Nice. Did you have you had a game since last week?
I had my series of games on Monday.
How did that go?
Good. Just that not all my team was really into it.
That you'll have that sometimes. You just don't feel it. That's kind of as we are taping this right now, and I'm checking scores. The Nuggets are having one of those games right now. They are down 118-92 in the fourth. Now the Avs are the other way. The Avs, it's the end of the first, and they're up 3-0. They're going to eliminate Arizona. I called this Avs in 5 this opening round. It looks like it's going to be Avs in 5. If you bet that, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Nuggets, I don't know what's going on with them.
I also hurt like the bottom of my chest right here.
How?
So I was getting ready to go to my position for the beginning of the inning. I was probably going to play like third or left or center. But then the other kids that already got there, they were practicing their fielding, and then a kid got a bad throw and then hit me right here.
Oh, so you didn't even see it coming?
Nope.
Oh, that sucks.
And
did it leave seam marks? Do you have like the seam marks from the ball?
No. Although
Okay,
I
that's
did
good.
sit for like the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, that sucks when you get hit in the sternum like that. It takes the wind out of you. So
And
no. Okay, I'm sorry. Keep going.
and that Monday, I was like really confused. Just that when I woke up, my mind was depleted. And then
This was Monday morning when you got up.
yes.
So
And then
you
it
weren't
was
feeling it.
yeah, I couldn't remember that much. And then when we were going home from the game, I only remembered half of the I didn't remember all of my baseball game. So
That's okay. But you're feeling better now.
yeah.
Everything's good. What about Vanito? What's his? Is he still playing? Are they practicing, or what's his schedule?
Yeah. He had a game Saturday.
Okay.
And
Hunter safety is done.
Dunzo.
Swimming lessons done.
Dunzo.
And so now it's baseball season, birthday in a couple days, and then you got to be getting ready for school.
Not Dunzo.
No, you're not ready for school?
No, I am ready for school.
Oh, okay.
That's
So you're
the
getting
thing.
close.
Just when I said Dunzo the first two times, I wanted to add not Dunzo to the end.
Ah, okay. I got you. Well, we got something a little different tonight. It's kind of a triple header. We touched on it briefly last week. I think it's been about 10 days now that CHSAA made the decision that they did with the way they scheduled all their sports. I think cross country and softball are playing. I know Southeast Colorado-wise, there's a group of girls from Kit Carson and have went up to Burlington. Eads, they sent some girls down to Wiley, the Lamar softball team. They're getting ready to kick off. I'm sure it's like that. Lahana, everything along the Arkansas Valley. So your dad, the executive producer, Mr. Sentner, lined us up 3 good interviews. We talked with the District 60 Athletic Director Rick Macias, District 70 Athletic Director T.J. Vinci, and then he got Wiley, their athletic director. She's in her first year. She walked into this mess, Shawna Wollert. So I was able to be there when we talked to Rick. You and your old man handled TJ and Shawna. So was there anything from those interviews that what did you take out of those?
I just took that they had different opinions on the coronavirus and what CHSAA has done about it.
Okay. Well, we'll get into it real fast. We'll do the interviews, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what they had to say, and then wrap it up and get into what we're gonna get into next week. But we're not gonna do the big intro because we have the 3 guests. So we're just gonna go ahead and get into it. So here, let's talk to some athletic directors and see how their the last 5 months has been. Sound good to you?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We want to welcome on a very special guest, Rick Macias. He is the Athletic Director for Pueblo School District 60. Rick, thank you for taking some time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, as we always do, we're just going to throw it to our boy Jack, and he'll get us started.
All right. Let's go back to March. State basketball tournaments are in progress. Many teams are excited to make it to the Final Four in their respective classifications. And then all of a sudden, tournaments are canceled and there will be no state championships. What were your thoughts when that decision came?
Jack, it kind of surprised me. Just a few days before that, I was over at watching East play. They were in that grade 8. We knew there were some restrictions. We didn't shake the hands and we didn't do things like that. But, after Thursday when they did have games and then to have it called off that Thursday night, it kind of surprised me. I thought they'd at least go through the tournament and then go to the maybe the shutdown the week after. But since the governor came on and we shut down our schools that Thursday, CHSAA made a good move by closing down also sports that weekend, but it was a surprise to me.
I think it got a little easier as the summer went to kind of push stuff back. But that state basketball week, man, just how hard was that Thursday, Friday, like leading up to that, and the texts and the conversations? Because I mean, that's got to be hard to be in on making a decision like that.
Yeah, but we got. I mean, it was. We got the scare really from the governor's office, from the national office, and all that was going on, and it happened so fast. You know, things were just spiraling at the time, and it was a decision that they had to make. A decision that I know wasn't popular, but especially for the basketball community. But since the NCAA was canceling everything, and so was pro basketball and all the winter sports. Yeah, it was, CHSAA had to make that decision and make it quick.
At first, we thought that COVID-19 would delay sports a couple of weeks, and then spring athletics like baseball and track would go as planned. Then the unthinkable happened. Spring sports got canceled. Talk about the communication between CHSAA and the local schools.
They were probably talking to us every day, and I was on some of those chats with Rhonda Blanford Green, the commissioner, and also some of the conversation was, you know, do we have it? Do we need to go forward with spring sports? You know, we're thinking let's go April 1st. We'll make that decision on if we're going to continue with spring sports. But the cases kept increasing, and it was getting worse. It was getting pretty much out of control in some of our counties, especially the mountain counties, where we got hit very hard in Aspen and Vail area. A lot of those mountain schools were shutting down and shut down, and we weren't getting back into school. And since we were not back into school, and school was going to stay online, CHSAA made that decision that you know, we can't have sports if our schools aren't opened.
What was the summer like as far as making plans for the upcoming sports season?
We continued this summer. We continued like there were still going to be sports going on. We had all our schedules out. We pretty much have our schedules out 6 to 8 months beforehand. So everything was already set for this fall and winter. And we did those way back in January. We had all those schedules already set and ready to go. So we were just waiting to see what was going to happen with the decision from the governor's office and his task force that he had going, his response team. So I know it was a last minute kind of decision just last week that we found out. But there were other requests made earlier, starting in June, from the CHSAA office, and they came back and the governor's office said, you got to still modify all these schedules, these calendars. So finally that last one came in last week, and then we were told only the 4 sports that were allowed to go this fall. And then we had to make our adjustments there for the schedule because we cut down on a lot of our games. You know, softball going to 16 games, cross country to only 7 meets. Golf stayed the same, so we didn't have to deal with that part of it. And then in tennis going down their matches to 9 matches for the season. And
How hard? Oh, I'm sorry.
And also cutting back the season too. So our season were cut down to about 8 to 9 weeks instead of the 12 weeks that we usually get.
How hard is it when it comes to decision-making time? I mean, you want to give folks as much information. I'm sure you get asked everywhere you go about what's going on, but you also want to give enough time to see how stuff plays out. So you said the decision was made late, but that's, I'm assuming, in hopes that there would be a way that you could do fall sports. Yeah, we talked all summer. We worked all summer long. Our athletic directors, with just Pueblo athletic directors, the South Central League athletic directors. I had a group email with the district
athletic directors around the state, and we just anticipated, what's going to happen. We talked a lot about what happens if we get to only play our conference games. So we had all that kind of ready. We had 2 or 3 meetings a week all summer long. It didn't stop. A few guys went on vacation. I went on vacation for a week, got back, and that's pretty much the only time that I wasn't away from my Zoom meetings, webcast meetings. So there was a lot of communication all summer long, not only from CHSAA and from the commissioner, but also from ADs from all over the state, and including our own ADs here in our South Central League and in Pueblo.
How is the scheduling working? You just mentioned you have the school district there. You guys have your leagues that you participate in. You have the kind of the regional and the state level. So when you go to putting these new schedules together, is that something CHSAA is putting together, or are you guys putting it together, or how does that work?
The high school ADs put that together. But, we have to stay with our conference and our South Central League games. Those are priority from CHSAA. CHSAA said, you keep those games still going on. So some leagues have 15 teams, so they didn't have to adjust their schedule too much. Like in softball, we have our South Central League. So we play each other twice, so that's 10 games. So we had to pick up 16 games. So our ADs were shuffling to who they're going to play, and we try to keep it close to the closest teams we can schedule. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, there was a few that they had to shuffle around, but it wasn't too bad. I think they had their schedules done within 24 hours after that decision. So they were on the ball. They got on, and it was chaotic, but we got the schedules done, including our football schedule, because football isn't in the spring, but since we already knew what our schedule was going to look like with only the 7 games, so we got that done within 24 hours after that decision was made.
Has everyone worked well together? I know that's Jack, his dad, we all grew up in Southeast Colorado. Our parents were in the school districts. My sister and husband, they're still all involved in the school on the Eastern Plains. There's just some schools that don't like each other. So when it comes to doing plans like this, did everybody work well and just realize that if we can all get along and make it smooth, it's going to be easier, like for you?
We didn't really see that when we were doing our schedules. I think they know the what's going on. COVID-19, we're having to control that, and everyone was getting along really great, I thought. I mean, the rivalries were getting along. It was different. It was different than just trying to put a schedule together and saying, oh, we don't want to play you because you guys are so good and you're always beating us up all the time. It wasn't like that. It was more like, hey, we got a game, and we're glad we have a game. We're glad we have a season, and let's just put it together. I didn't see that. I mean, around our part, and I'm talking just about our area, but I didn't see that around the state. Talking to the other district ADs around the state, it went pretty smooth for just a short time that we had time to make those schedules out.
That's good.
What has the response been from the local coaches and athletes here in Pueblo?
There's been kind of a mix. I mean, some hearts were broken because they're not having a sport this fall, and some were elated that they all having a sports. And so some of them were saying, I'm glad that they waited on some of these sports because it was kind of a little bit stressful to get follow all these guidelines and to follow all these mandates that CHSAA put out. And maybe it'll be better come spring, come winter time, and then we can go through this fall time. Hopefully everything gets better, and come January when we start our winter sports, our B season, now that it's broken up into 4 seasons. So some were elated and some were kind of disappointed. So it was a mixed out there of feelings for the coaches.
When you look at
it, I was a coach. I coached cross country for 15 years, and for me to not have the season that I like to have, going to big meets, we used to love to go to Liberty Bell, and because that was 80 schools and it was a great, great atmosphere for cross country. They canceled that meet this year. So things like that, you look forward to it, but then you also look and see, what the reason why. So yeah, it's mixed feelings, I would say, Jack, that's from the coaches.
What's the budget situation with, I mean, I know the professional and college level, a lot of the sports, especially football, they're fighting because they need that money. Does having to move stuff, does that play with your budget any, or is that not something that it screws up?
Yeah, we have to really adjust and modify our budget. I mean, it's going to look different this year, and we're going to hopefully have those seasons, what we call the season C, which is the fall season in the spring for those other sports. We hope to have that revenue come in at that time and start seeing, our spectators in there, and hopefully it'll be a lot better that we can have more spectators, because we were hearing all summer long that we could only have 20% of our spectators in the stands. Our gyms aren't big enough to even hold any spectators after that 20% when you count all the athletes, all the coaches, all the officials, all the workers, all that. You have those small gyms, they're going to 20% capacity. So hopefully in the spring, that'll be better where we can have full stands and we follow all the COVID-19 guidelines at that time. So there's a huge adjustment to our budgets right now. And we're hoping that, we get that revenue later on in the season, in those other seasons. So it's going to be different. It's going to be a whole lot different. And so we have to make a lot of adjustments. Especially, we're hoping that season C, which is, again, like I said, the fall season, move to the spring, we'll pick up and have better weather, have more people in the stands. That's when we'll see the Bell game, the Cannon game. As a matter of fact, the Cannon game is on Good Friday this year. That's kind of weird. And I kind of made a joke about it and said, maybe we'll call it the Easter egg bowl. But so things like that's going to happen that we're looking forward to. And you kind of get excited. I'm a person that gets excited about stuff and change, even at change. Instead of getting stressed about it, I get excited about it and I look forward to it. So let's see what happens with that budget.
Like I said, I came from Southeast Colorado and I had heard, because I'd read in the Chieftain about the Cannon and the Bell game. And for the people that don't know yet, they read it in the paper and they see, but maybe they've never been up there. Explain how important those two games are. I'm sure, like you said, from the budget standpoint, financially, they got to make you guys some money. But just to Pueblo, the 2 weeks each leading up to those games, if you've never experienced it, people don't know what it's like. So that's something that I'm guessing you guys really want to get in the spring.
Yes. The Bell game will be right before we go on spring break this year. So it'll be that Friday night. We hope to have all the hoopla that goes with it, all that week of getting ready for that Bell game and having that Bell game Friday night. And hopefully we get good weather because, in the springtime, you never know when those springtime snowstorms come in, they're come and go. But so we were looking forward to hoping to have the big crowd. And we're getting ready for that. We're getting ready for Dutch Clark Stadium having a live stream cameras. We usually film it anyway. Our crew here at District 60 with our crew that we have, we will have it, on one of the channels. But also to have the crowd there, to have that 15,000 seat stadium filled up with all that, and having all the sidelines, having all that goes with it. And then, 2 weeks later, like I said, on Good Friday, we have the Cannon game, the same thing, big crowd. And it just that week that leads up to it, the rivalry there. It's going to be hopefully what we see now, traditionally in the fall, for the last 100 years or so, that we get to see that in the springtime, that same big crowd, that same atmosphere that we see every year with that Bell game and that Cannon game. Because, it's hard to explain it if you haven't been there. You know that, Kevin, and it's just a great feeling, a great week. You know, it's another one that I get really excited about. You know, and things hopefully they go good. So it's just something to look forward to in the springtime.
I'll make a prediction. If you guys get to go full capacity for those, I bet they're as full as they've ever been because people are going to get out. I hope you can sell that place and pack it because I think it'll be full. So, Jack, you got one to end on?
Yeah. How did COVID-19 affect middle school sports?
Yeah, that affected us a lot because we had just finished up middle school girls basketball and wrestling just a week before we got shut down in March. So we were glad to have that in. But we missed out on the track and field season. And it was, we love our track and field middle school. It's a great atmosphere. It's finally, we finally get to go outside. We get to, have all these events for track and field. We get to see a lot of teams, but that got shut down this year. So we're looking forward to, the girls softball starting after Labor Day. We'll get that going and get cross country going. So those two sports will be going this fall for middle school. And, it's too bad that the Pueblo Police Athletic League canceled their season for football. And so did the Bannon League over in the county canceled their football. But it looks like they'll have that in the spring also. And, the other sports like volleyball, girls volleyball for middle school, that's going to be moved to the same time we have it for high school. So they haven't been canceled altogether, but we're again moving them and using the same calendar that CHSAA has. But middle school sports really got hit hard with that, just like the other sports. We're hoping that we get that going again soon.
Cool. Well, Rick, we appreciate you taking some time. I know you've got a lot more important things to do than talk to a 10-year-old and his pretend uncle on their podcast. So we appreciate it, man. I know you're between a rock and a hard spot with some of this stuff, man. So it's I think you guys are handling it well and doing what you need to do. And I hope here after Christmas and everything, you guys can pack a lot of sports there into the spring.
And Jack, you got a good program going here. Good job. Appreciate
Thank you.
And all that you do. It's you're doing a great job with this. And again, thank you, Jack, and thank you, Kevin, for having me on.
No problem, man. Yes, sir. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yep, you too.
Bye.
Now available. Pickupshaws.com. Ordering has never been easier. Order with the touch of your fingers. Curbside pickup as well. Or have food delivered to your home using our partners at DoorDash. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Located at 940 Eagle Ridge Boulevard. Shaw's, the American Euro.
And welcome back to the Paradox of Sports as we do our continuation of the effect of COVID-19 as it relates to our local high school athletics programs. And joining us now is Athletic Director for Pueblo School District 70, T.J. Vinci. T.J., thanks for taking the time to meet with us and let us know what's going on in the state of athletics for your respective areas.
No problem. No problem. I appreciate you having me.
You bet. All right, Jack, take it away.
All right. Same question I asked Rick when state basketball tournaments were in progress. Pueblo West was getting ready for their Final Four matchup, and then all of a sudden tournaments are canceled, and there will be no state champions. What were your thoughts when that decision came?
It was tough. I mean, those kids worked hard. We had not only Pueblo West, but we had the Rye girls were up there. When you work that hard all season and you're at the top of your game and you're going for their ultimate prize every year, that state championship, and to have that pulled out from underneath you, it's tough on the kids. It's tough on the parents. A lot of unhappy people at that point, but with the situation we're in right now, CHSAA really didn't have much of an option at that point, and it is what it is.
Now, how far along were the Rye girls? Did they make it all the way to the semifinals as well?
They were because with that level, the top 8 go up and play in the state tournament up in Denver. So they had played their first round game and had lost that game. So they were in the consolation bracket going into their second game. So the Friday night games got played, or the Thursday night games got played. So the first round of that 8 got played up there. And so they were going to be ready to move over to the consolation bracket. So they're a little different than with the 4A, 5A, where as soon as you lose, you're done. Once they get up there in that 8-team tournament, then you're going to go either loser's bracket or winner's bracket once you get to the level of 8.
Yeah, I know there was a similar situation. I believe it was the Springfield Longhorns girls team. I think that they played their final Elite 8 game and were going into the semis, and then it was pull both teams off the court.
Yep. And it was even that night when we were sending people up for that game, they had limited us to, I think, 4 people from your family could be there. So it wasn't even a full crowd for that first night anyway. So it was crazy just going into that first game. And then they just shut it down that night.
Any idea, or what would your thoughts be if they would have continued it out, saying we're this far along, we only have a day or two, or do you feel it was the right decision to, pull them off the court on the spot?
I would have liked to see it finish, but everybody's got their opinion on this. You're up there already. It was already minimal amount of people that could be in there. They were only letting in so many people from each group for each team. And then as soon as that game was done, they were moving those people out. You couldn't stay, and then only the teams that were playing, their fans were the only ones allowed in, and it was only a select number of people. So it wasn't a whole lot of people in the gyms, but I don't think that was the biggest issue. I think they were losing the ability to hold those sites. The sites, I think, were not allowing them to continue on, because I'm pretty sure CHSAA probably had the same feeling as most people. We're so close. It'd be nice. Let's just get it finished. We're on our last weekend, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
With spring sports, Pueblo West, the defending state champions in baseball, Wright having a great season, making it to state semis in 2A. Some successful individual track and field performances. Seniors were looking forward to the upcoming season, but then the unthinkable happened. Spring sports got canceled. What was the response like from those seniors and coaches?
Since I'm at the district level, I don't necessarily interact with the kids as much, so I'm hearing most of it hearsay, but it was a pretty crushing blow for them, especially if you're a senior. They had good teams. They were trying to defend for Pueblo West. Rye had a good team, had several of their top players back, was looking to try to get another state championship. And then if you're a senior and you don't even get another shot at it, it's tough for those kids. Everybody that follows sports, even at levels above us, were not happy that sports discontinued. I couldn't imagine what it's like for those kids to be a senior and know that this was the year that I was going to be at the top of my high school game, and our teams are looking good, and I don't even get a chance to compete. That just had to be horrible for them. So I'm sure parents, athletes, coaches, nobody was happy with the situation. I think people kind of understood where we were and that there wasn't a whole lot of opportunities to do something different at that point. But there was a lot of crushed people that those sports didn't happen.
What was the summer like as far as making plans for the upcoming sports season?
So we tried to go ahead and once we had guidance from the governor's office on what they were going to allow for summer sports stuff, because CHSAA is not in any kind of control during the summer. We tried to start following phases to bring in the coaches and athletes that wanted to come in. So we started a phase 1 where they'd have to stay socially distanced, couldn't share equipment. We wanted them just to do conditioning stuff just so they kind of get back in with their friends and get to see each other again. But they're wearing masks, they're staying away from each other. We're just doing conditioning stuff. And then we got into phase 2 where we can start doing some kind of sports stuff, whether it's drills, things like that, still trying to keep away from each other as much, but you could start using equipment and stuff. We were hoping to just slowly phase that in so they get closer to what a normal summer was like. And then the governor came out with the mask deal where everybody had to wear a mask. So then we just kind of froze things at phase 2 and let all those sports that usually do summer stuff go ahead and continue whatever summer stuff they always do in the summer, but just stay in phase 2 where we try to minimize the amount of contact, go ahead and run through your plays and stuff, but let's not do any physical contact, things like that. Shoot baskets, throw the baseball, throw the football, whatever, but try to minimize as much contact and stuff as possible.
Of course, the big news from last week, fall sports is going to be moved to the spring with the exception of cross country, tennis, boys golf, and softball. With football and volleyball moving to spring, how will this impact other sports and those athletes that play multiple sports with the modifications to the 2020-2021 calendar?
I think the way the CHSAA set it up, that it's not going to hurt them probably any worse than it normally does, since CHSAA shortened all those seasons. We always have overlaps depending on what sports you're playing. So if you're starting in the fall, if your sports are making it to the playoffs, there's a good chance you're overlapping if you're going to play in a winter sport. So you're overlapping anyway. So since they shortened the seasons, we still have a little bit of overlap. But the way they set it up, if you're a multi-sport athlete, you still can hit all your sports. So you're not going to miss out on your sports. It's just going to shorten the seasons, put them in a different season. But they should be able to do every sport. If we get through everything this year, they'll be able to play every sport they normally play.
Now, because obviously District 70, you're set up in somewhat of a triangle or an upside down triangle with Pueblo West, Pueblo County, and then Rye, with Rye being, the smaller community of the area that you're covering. Do you see much of a difference as far as the calendar, I know you mentioned it didn't really affect kids that are multi-sport athletes, but is that, somewhat helpful to a smaller community such as Rye, or does it hurt them more than the bigger schools?
Well, I don't know if it helps or hurt them. I think the thing that's going to affect somewhere like Rye more is going to be that third season when football and any sports that are outside sports in that third season, football starts February 22nd. Well, if you're up in Rye in February, you're probably in snow. So you're going to start out your football season with an all-weather football field we're not going to put a blade out on that football field to clear it. And it's not uncommon for us to have foot and a half snows in March and April. So for them, that's going to be the issue they're going to face, is what's the weather going to be like, plus your daylight savings time. That was always an issue with baseball at the beginning, because until that changed, they're losing the light to try to get practice in. So that's more of what I see is going to be the issue with switching those seasons around. When I looked at those calendars and saw when those championships get played and when the other sport starts, there's not that much of an overlap. You're going to change how they overlap. We're a football player that does basketball. Usually they do football first and then go into basketball. Now they're going to do basketball first and then go into football. So it's going to be different for them. That's not something they're used to. But what CHSAA really tried to push in this schedule was, if a kid was a multi-sport kid, that the opportunity was still there to do that. Whether it's the perfect opportunity, I can't say that for sure, because we've never experienced switching seasons like this. But they'll still have the opportunity to be able to play the sports that they want to play without overlapping too much in the other sports.
Now, I know you mentioned as far as like daylight savings and the seasons, especially for football, are we going to see more Saturday games this coming season than we have in the past? I know we've had obviously Friday night's the night for high school football, but you sprinkle in some of the games on that Saturday afternoon. Are you gonna? Do you feel we're gonna see more of that?
Yeah, that's a chance. You know what football's like. If they have their choice, they'd rather play a Friday night. But if your Friday nights are going to be 25 or 30 degrees, where you can come back and play on Saturday and you're going to be in the 50s, you know, we're going to probably be looking at that stuff. It's going to be hard to tell for sure to see exactly how many games we're playing as league and how many we're able to get outside of league and how far can we go. It's just hard to say for sure. But I would not be surprised if that happened, if we started moving some to Saturday just because of the weather. But then you still have JVs and stuff, and usually JVs for our level always hit on Saturday. The upper levels, the 4A, 5As, 3As even, they'll play a lot of theirs during the week on a Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday night. But usually at the 1A, 2A level, you'll play a Friday night game, and then that Saturday morning is when that JV game usually happens. So we'll just have to look and see what the numbers look like, how the schedules fall out. But if the weather becomes an issue, you know they're going to take care of varsity first. So if it's a deal where we need to move varsities to that Saturday because the weather's not cooperating, then we'll do that. And then we'll figure out when we can move the JVs to maybe during the week after school.
How has COVID-19 affected middle school sports scheduling and planning?
Kind of the same way. We're going to have them follow basically what the high school CHSAA has set up. So whatever seasons the high schools are in, we're going to hold the middle schools to the same seasons, and we'll shorten their seasons just like we shortened the high schools. So we don't want to have where you can't have the opportunity to play the other sports. We kept them at the same lengths, then they would have that issue. So we're just going to try to mirror what we have at the high school level and do the same thing at the middle school. But we try to do the same thing in the summer. When we did the phase 1, phase 2, we try to just bring them in a week behind the high schools just so we can see how it's going with the high schools. If we run into any issues, we know how to adjust them before the middle schools start that level of phase. But this year we'll follow the high schools, their seasons.
All right.
All right. Well, appreciate you taking the time to connect with us and provide some insight. I know there's been a lot of questions and, appreciate the clarity because I know Facebook pages have been blowing up and, there's not people not used to moving a traditionally fall season into, the spring and the back half of the year. So it's good to get some clarity and some of those questions answered that they have.
Well, it's a different year. This is something we've never experienced. You've got a lot of different opinions on what we should do. Trying to make everybody happy on both sides is tough. I think CHSAA did a good job. I don't think anybody wanted to have the seasons outside their normal seasons. I think that was the number one thing they wanted to have happen first. But then on the second part, nobody wanted to lose their season. So if it meant moving to another area just so I could get my season, I think they'd much rather have that than like we're seeing in some of the college football and stuff where we're not even going to have a season. So when you're dealing with a high school kid and just like those seniors last year, now you've got seniors this year, if they don't even get an opportunity to play that sport, whether it's in the normal season or in a different season, there's going to be a lot of hurt kids again. So I think they're doing the best they can to try to make something happen. And it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah. Thanks again. And we definitely look forward to seeing all the kids on the field, on the courts, on the mats, just different times than what we've been accustomed to. So
that is right. All right. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. T.J. Vinci, Athletic Director for Pueblo School District 70. Thanks again for taking the time, and hopefully we can connect and share some of those achievements with this crazy year.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll see you.
Right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
No problem. We'll see you.
We learned a great appreciation for roofing early in life, helping our dads install and repair roofs. Now that we're older, we see how important it is to build more than just roofs. At Optimum Roofing, we understand what your home means to you and your family. That's why we handle every detail, every step of the way, and provide quality work that's affordable and enhances your home's curb appeal.
Right now, ask about our solar options and how much they can save on your energy bill.
At Optimum Roofing, we don't just build roofs, we build relationships. OptimumRoofingLLC.com.
And welcome back to the Paradox of Sports. We're going to get more of a smaller school perspective. Joining us right now in her first year as Athletic Director of Wiley High School is Shawna Wollert. Shawna, thank you so much for taking the time and catching up with us.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Jack, take it away, buddy.
All right. This is your first year as Athletic Director of Wiley High School. Give us a little background on what your job has been so far with COVID-19 causing all sorts of issues with high school sports and scheduling.
Oh, what it's looked like so far. So initially we were just trying to figure out how to get our kids, back into the gyms and back on the field. We kind of had a delay in knowing what our sports season was going to look like. When we found out that we had an A, B, C, and D season, we noticed we didn't have much to do for our kids to offer them. So we had been in the talks of possibly starting a softball program at Wiley maybe in the next few years, and COVID kind of presented an opportunity for us to get started sooner. So since last week, I've been working really hard to put together everything I need to give our girls a softball season.
Going back to this last spring, we were hoping things would be back to normal with baseball and track. Seniors were looking forward to the upcoming season, and freshmen were getting ready for their first time experiencing high school sports. But then the unthinkable happened. Spring sports got canceled. What was the response like from the Wiley community, coaches, and athletes?
I think, our coaches and our community in a small school, a lot of activities revolve around athletics. And so they were disappointed. I mean, it was their world that had just stopped. What we do in our free time, how we spend our weekends, we didn't have any of that. And a lot of kids felt like they weren't able to finish, what they had started. And some kids, our freshmen who were wanting to experience it and learn and grow weren't given that opportunity. So essentially they'll be experiencing that season, they'll be sophomores, but it'll be their freshman season this year, hopefully.
Now, just kind of, looking at your household, putting on, the mom hat and Heath the dad hat. I believe you had a freshman that was getting his first taste of football, basketball, and then baseball season is getting geared up. What was your son's thoughts and your family's thoughts with this? What was your household like during all this?
Well, I think there was definite just disappointment. I mean, he was wanting to be a 3-sport letter, and then the season's canceled. So he can't reach that goal. And I think something he's been working towards since he was young to try to get there. And so he was personally disappointed. And that's what he did for fun. That was his free time, I guess. And as parents, it's hard to sit there. You put so much time into your kids, preparing them and wanting to give them these opportunities and these experiences. And then when it's taken and you had no control over it, you're at a loss too. You feel disappointed. So a lot of disappointment.
What was the summer like as far as making plans for the upcoming sports season?
What was the summer like? It was full of questions. We were trying to follow guidelines, and really nobody really knew what to do or how to do it. So it was very new. But we were trying to get our kids workouts when we could, how we could. Planning was difficult. as far as when do kids go, how do we split them up. We kind of tried to stay away from the month of June as best we could, and we really looked at getting kids going in July. Our rec department down here in Lamar did open up our rec softball program, so we were able to get some of our younger girls going and playing there, but we didn't have the numbers that we had had in the past.
Of course, the big news from last week, fall sports is going to be moved to the spring, with the exception of cross country, tennis, boys golf, and softball. With football and volleyball moving to spring, the boys playing football will have a break before basketball and wrestling. However, a new opportunity for the girls that normally play volleyball. Wiley now has his own softball team. How did this come about?
So we had been talking about adding softball for a while, just kind of had been, thrown out there. And when this happened and it hit, we were able to get a softball team early. We do have a lot of girls that play volleyball playing on our softball team. Our hope is in the future that we're able to allow them to do both, maybe designate a main sport and then a secondary sport. But the girls wanted to do something. They needed to have something competitive. Our boys do too. And so it was hard because we didn't know what we could offer or pull in right away for them. We did tell them they could go golf or run cross country in Lamar or golf in Eads. Most of them didn't take that opportunity. They've decided to kind of do the preseason workouts that they're able to do with football and basketball. So they decided to go that route. But it was definitely a quick decision, and we've had to move fast. Our first game is Tuesday, and I'm hoping that our uniforms are in by then.
So, a couple questions with that. So how many girls are out for the team?
We had 19 show up to our parent meeting first practice. So I don't know, usually you lose a few here, but I'm guessing we're going to have right around 15 to 19 finish the season. So.
And then what does the coaching staff look like? Who's running the show, and, kind of give us that background.
Okay. So our superintendent, who is new this year, he's actually coached softball at the high school level and at the college level. So he was more than willing to do it this year. And I don't know if he'd be willing to do it, in the years to come. But where we were quickly adding the sport, he had the knowledge, and so he was willing to coach. So he'll be our head coach this year. And then we have a couple teachers in our secondary who played softball. And I think one of them has had some coaching experience in softball. And so they will be as assistants, Jackie May and Diana Doyle.
High school sports.
Hey, hold on just a sec, Jack. I got a couple more questions as it relates to softball. Sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay.
So obviously for the past, since we were in high school, so the past 25 years, Wiley girls have been, we sound old, don't we?
Yeah, you gotta not tell age.
So the past 5 years, our girls at Wiley have been, part of the Lamar Lady Savage softball program, and they've had a lot of success
with that, and a lot of our girls were major players in that success. What does that do with a program with Lamar? So I know it's a unique situation, especially some of the veteran girls that have played, wearing those colors during the softball season, having that support and pride from, the local parents, and then, putting on your traditional Wiley Panther colors and, starting something new and a lot of uncertainty. What has the response been from that standpoint?
So, we have an older girl who had played for Lamar the last 2 years. She'll be a junior this year, and To say that that was an easy transition would be false. She has played with them. They're competitive. You know, it's established. Coming to a new program where I'm sure we're going to take our lumps for a couple of years before we can get up and going and really compete at a high level. I'm not saying we don't have some talented girls on our Wiley team, because we do. They're very athletic. They're very competitive, but it is a different beast and we haven't played it for a while. That girl, the one I'm speaking of, we did ask to see if there was any way we could write a waiver to allow her to finish out at Lamar, you know, where she had played on their varsity team last year. And the way it works is if, you know, we offer a varsity program and she's going to school at our school, it's no longer up to CHSAA to allow that waiver. There's like state law saying she has to play for us. So we spent a lot of time calling and asking questions and trying to see, because what we wanted in all of this was for every girl, every kid that wanted to have the opportunity to play, to have that opportunity to play. And we wanted them to do it and be able to do it where they wanted to be able to do it. Of course, our younger girls, we would have wanted to stay here so we could build our program where she was a junior. If we could have done that for her, we absolutely would have. And there was a lot of sleepless nights trying to decide what was best for the majority of the girls right now. I guess one thing COVID has kind of taught us is we can't take any day for granted. You know, what's going on today might completely be dropped tomorrow. And so it was really, what can we provide for our girls, for the majority of the girls or more girls in our area right now, versus what does 3 years look like, 4 years look like. I mean, and that was really how we kind of based our decision to move forward with the varsity program. Because if we wouldn't have had the varsity program, our varsity level players could have played in Lamar.
How has COVID-19 affected middle school sports scheduling and planning?
Oh my goodness. So our middle school, because it's not CHSAA sanctioned, they really gave us the opportunity to make that decision at the local level. And right now we have just a lot of, I guess, uncertainty, and some ADs and schools are wanting to move forward and some are kind of wanting to follow the CHSAA guidelines so that we don't get shut down. I think their concern is if we go forward and move forward, will we get shut down at the local level or at the state level. I'm going to a league meeting, for a high school league meeting on Wednesday, and I have another league meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday of this next week. And I think we're going to discuss kind of how we want to move forward as an area with our junior high.
Okay, Jack, you got anything else, buddy?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, Shawna, hey, thanks again for taking the time out to visit with us. I know, you know, kind of this is somewhat downtime on a Friday, getting stuff done around the house, and as well as, you know, your other responsibility as athletic director, educator there at Wiley. So we definitely appreciate you providing the insight. And I know, you know, a lot of people back home are certainly interested in hearing how these decisions came about and the hard work that you're doing to make things happen for our communities.
Well, thank you guys for having me, and I hope that we're all back to normal soon.
Yeah, we'll certainly get there. So, Shawna, hey, thanks again, and we'll connect here soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it. We want to thank all three folks for taking some time and chatting with us. I know we talked leading into it about something that maybe we took from the interviews, Jack, and I know one thing for me is they all seemed genuinely disappointed with kind of how the spring ended and the fall has started with stuff getting moved. So, I mean, as a kid that's had some of his sports affected, Do you kind of understand where that just, is kind of a punch to the gut?
Yeah, because I love anything and everything sports, and especially playing sports. It's just when your season like gets suspended or even canceled, it's just humiliating, kick in the crotch.
Well, what I'm hoping for is when we were talking to Rick Macias, I hope they get to have the Bell game this fall, and then I hope they get to have a crowd. And if they do, I'm going to do everything I can to make it down there. And I think me and you are just going to have to do a little Jack and Uncle Kevin on the road, and we're going to have to go check out a Bell game.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to the Bell game before?
Been to the Bell game. I've watched it on, I think I've watched it on television before.
Yeah, when Brooks and them do the broadcast, him and Serby do a great job. It'd be cool to get down there and see one and watch Jim and Joe and those guys in action. I'm sure we could probably get you up there to the booth to check out what they do too. So, okay, well, what about this weekend? After the birthday party, no games?
I don't know what my next game is. I don't know.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it next week. We'll be back. We're going to have a more traditional program next week. We got an interview lined up with another professional wrestler. So we've had this one in the can for a while. We're going to go ahead and play it. And then we're going to return the segment. We didn't do it this week just because we're already longer than most of them we've already done. We'll have This Week in Sports, the Jacks Look Back, and maybe something new too. So we'll keep our eye on the Rockies. They're in a tailspin right now. We didn't talk much about that. We'll get into that more next week. I'm sure their season's liable to be done. And then the Avs will wrap up the Coyotes. And, yeah, my phone just beeped at me. David Dahl sidelined. The Rockies are done. And then the Nuggets, we'll see if I'm sure they're still going to be in the series. They'll still be playing Utah. So with that, Jack, have a good week.
Rockies lost?
No, the Rockies are just David Dahl's going to the DL. Let me see. What time do the Rockies play tonight? Let's look here. I don't even know where they went. Oh, they're playing the Astros. Oh, they're back in Denver. So yesterday was getaway day. So, yeah, they play the Astros tonight. They're both 13. Castellani is going for us, Valdez for them. So we'll see.
The breaking news on David Dahl, he's been added to the 10-day IL, and Brendan Rodgers has been recalled.
Where is he recalled from? Where he's recalled from where? Is this part of that practice squad thing they have going? Because he's not in Albuquerque. So where are they keeping these other guys?
I think he's on the 20-man taxi squad. But I believe if Brendan Rodgers won't be playing in left field because he's a shortstop second baseman guy. And if I were to put him anywhere, I'd put Brendan Rodgers at second base and then Garrett Hampson in the left. And then have Ryan McMahon or Daniel Murphy at first.
All right, let's see what you did. Oh no, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, so we put Hampson in center. This is tonight. Hampson's in center, Story's at short, Blackman's in right, Nolan's at third. Kemp's going to DH. Kemp will probably hit a home run tonight. He loves Corfield. Write that down. I don't know what the bet is, but if you have I would parlay Rockies to win, Kemp to hit a home run tonight, whatever that pays. Someone will look it up for me. Tapia. We're going to put Tapia in left. Owings at second. Ryan McMahon.
McMahon. Yeah.
McMahon at first, and then Butera is going to catch.
Oh, Drew Butera?
No, Drew Butera. Never heard of him. Okay. Perfect. Okay, well, hopefully the Rockies can pull out of this funk because I think they've lost 5 of 6. I haven't checked. Let's see the standings. Where are we?
I could actually check the CBS Sports website and see what they're going to do. See if their results are similar to yours
For the Rockies?
for the Rockies.
Yeah, we're 13-10. We're the only team in the West that's not on a winning streak right now. We're letting the Dodgers get away from us. We're 4 games back.
All right, here, let me get to NBA. I mean, MLB. All right, let me find this. Where is it? Where is MLB? All right, here it is. And here, let me go to teams. Let's go to Colorado Rockies. Find them. Rockies. Oh, let's go depth chart. 13-10, second in the NL West. My thing says that they're gonna have Tony Walters at catcher. But
Tonight?
or that's what the thing says.
Oh.
That's
It says lineup subject to change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
And
they
then
did
they're
make
gonna
the
have
change.
Daniel Murphy at first, Ryan McMahon at second, shortstop Story, third base Arenado, Garrett Hampson in left.
Holy cow, that's weird. My lineup is nothing like your lineup.
But wait a minute. So David Dahl would be in center field, but that's injured, and Garrett Hampson would be a replacement. So probably Garrett Hampson will versatile between both left and center. Where if Garrett Hampson's in center, Sam Hilliard will be in left, and if Garrett Hampson's in left, Chris Owings will be in center. Charlie Blackmon in right, and Matt Kemp at DH.
Okay. Perfect. Well, we'll watch it and find out. So Thank you again. Rick Macias, T.J. Vinci, Shawna Wollert, thank you guys for taking the time to join us tonight. We'll wrap this one up. We'll do it again next week, Jack.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, dude.
Thanks. Bye.